Doug and the family and I were in Scandinavia last 2 weeks. We went to Sweden, Norway, and Denmark. It was beautiful, absolutely gorgeous part of the world, lovely people. But you feel these things on an innate level about like who you are and what your background is versus this new place that you're exploring. And one of the things I was noticing was, what's America? It's a capitalist country. We're not a socialist country, though many on the left would like us to be more and more. And these are democratic socialist nations. And they have different policies and they have definitely a better social safety net. But we asked our one guide, what do you pay in taxes? And she said 75% of my money. Okay, all right. Well, that's a thing. All of these folks know that no matter what they do or choose, they will be supported by the government till their dying day. And they also know that whatever they make, they're at best, they're only going to take home, let's say 25% of it. Now, what does that do? Does that just make you feel, happy and secure and, encourage entrepreneurship, moonshots, right?
Risk.
Invention, risk, right? No, I would suggest it does exactly the opposite. And this to me manifested in small ways. When you're not in a capitalist society, you walk into a hotel and the bellman, who normally would rush to take a woman's big bag coming off of it, they're like, you're good. They don't, There's no rush. They're not hustling for a tip. They don't care. You go to the restaurants and there's not a waiter who's going above and beyond to try to, give you good service and make sure you have a good time so that he gets a good tip. That's the American capitalist spirit. If I work harder for you, presumably you will reward me with something that says, I value you. Nope, not there. It's like, we don't really do that here. And my government's got me. I mean, you could feel it. And I missed that American hustle. I missed the gunner, that you see. I miss going, I live outside of New York. You go into the city, you see these guys everywhere. You go into a cocktail lounge and these are the movers and shakers of the world having drinks there, talking about the future. And then you go out on the street and you see the guys who are drilling the streets and with doing the dirty jobs. And they say, hey, sweetheart. And you say, hey, yo, you go, guy. And you thank the cops for their service. And they got the New York accent. I missed all of it. I couldn't see life at a 6.5. You know what I mean? Yeah. I much rather live in a place where there are ones and tens.
Well, you round the edges off of a thing, and everything is smooth and careful and all terribly polite. It's really, I think the only 4-letter word that really matters in this conversation is risk, and the willingness to accept it and society's decision to either reward it, encourage it, or punish it and discourage it. We're coming out of a 3-year period, Megyn, right now, I think, where risk in all of its forms has been mitigated. We've attempted to erase it, eliminate it. I was listening to an old clip. I posted something a few years ago when Andrew Cuomo, as governor, said no measure, no matter how draconian, could be deemed excessive if it saves a single life. And, you think about what would really happen to a society that actually believed that. And we started to see it. And when you read the texts of our founding fathers, and when you look at the affirmative steps that were taken a couple of 100 years ago, the amount of courage, the amount of risk that the signers of the Declaration had to assume and knew they were assuming before they put pen to paper, it's mind-boggling when you weigh and measure it against today's state of mind. We're like a frog in the boiling water with regard to that. We've truly embraced a literal safety first mentality in our country, which is absurd. Safety is never first. If it were, we'd still be in our homes. If it were the speed limit, Cuomo could have dropped the speed limit to 5 miles an hour, made rubber cars and made all motorists wear a helmet and eliminated left turns. And he would have saved 35,000 lives a year. But we don't do that because people weren't made to stay in their homes and cars weren't made to sit in the driveway. And and ships weren't made to stay in the harbor. And all of that freedom and all of that individuality, that's what I think you guys probably missed in Scandinavia. It was the freedom to screw it up. It was the right to try and the concerted effort to encourage the trying and the failing, the flaw, all of it, the stuff that makes it interesting. That walk down that New York City street you just envisioned, who knows what that construction worker's going to say next? He might go too far. Who knows how we don't know. We're not supposed to know. It's not supposed to be that anodyne and safe. That's back to Franklin, right? Safety and security. And you get those two things mixed up, you don't deserve either.
Yeah, no, the right to try. That's what we give you here in America. You have the right to try. You don't have the right to win. No guaranteed success and no guaranteed safety net for a lot of Americans. That's also true. But the right to try and to change your station in life, unlike any other country in the world. And all right, this brings me back to the movie and one of my favorite stories. So now, as I said to the audience up top, it's got about 10 or so stories of people whose names you will know, for the most part. Some you won't, but you'll recognize the role that they're being highlighted for. And the fun part is getting the big reveal at the end, so I'm not going to ruin it for the audience because I hope they experience it the same way I did. But I'm going to tell, I think, and I have your permission, I think, to tell one, just so they can get a feel for what's in this movie. And it's my favorite one. Okay, so you're going to help me tell it. Here's a little bit from the movie that will jumpstart this particular story about a guy named Harry Sotfor.
Bill believed that Harry's daughter would make an excellent wife and planned on proposing after he graduated from Stanford. All he had to do now was convince Harry that he was a good match for his little girl, a challenge that would require him to swallow a mouthful of bull testicles.
And you literally mean bull testicles. So the stars of this little story are Harry, his daughter, and Bill, who needs to impress Harry in order to win the hand or his blessing for the hand of the daughter whom Bill would like to date. You take it from there.
Yes. So when I wrote that story a couple of years ago, the title was Not Inclined to Judge, because our hero, Bill, was not a judgmental guy. He took everything at face value and he always played the cards he got. And he fell in love with this woman, Harry's daughter. And so he basically goes to court her, to woo her. This is a Stanford student, by the way, smart fella, but he's a bit out of his depth on the Lazy Bee Ranch. And the old man, Harry, he knows his daughter's a catch. And when the suitors arrive, he likes to weigh and measure them and see how they'll respond. In this case, he has them go through some dehorning, which is a very difficult thing to do on a ranch, and basic animal husbandry practices and branding and things like that. And then, of course, we move on to castration, which on a personal level was kind of a big deal for me during Dirty Jobs. In fact, when I castrated lambs in season 4, won an Emmy Award. I don't know if you can see it back there, but there it sits. So I knew that this topic would hit a chord. And so I tell the story of what Bill does. And spoiler alert, he's up for the job. Old Harry takes these testicles off of these bulls with the help of his daughter, who really seems to enjoy it, by the way, and runs them through an ice pick and then puts them on an open flame. He calls them shishka balls. And he hands one to Bill. And Bill takes it off the ice pick and he eats it. Now, this is a true story. In fact, I'm going to show you something. It's so weird that you brought this up. Your viewers should know, I swear, this isn't scripted, but the prop director 2 days ago in Camp Pendleton gave me this. We screened the movie for about 1,000 Marines the other day.
Bull testicle.
It says Hero Bull Testicle. I'm going to open it up for you, Megan. I'm going to.
Oh, God.
This is what you saw. This is what you saw in the film.
I'm sorry, but it looks like a penis. It doesn't even look like a testicle. It looks like a severed penis.
I can't speak to that, Megan. I don't know what your experience has been. Testicles versus penises, bulls versus, aardvarks. But that's a good sized testicle. And that's
Was it recently severed? There's still blood marks on it.
No, that's just all Hollywood magic. That looks like a vein, doesn't it? It's so realistic.
Oh, my God. That's disgusting.
This is what Bill had to eat, okay, in order to win Harry's approval, in order to get a chance to date his daughter. He does. And the two get together, and they kind of live happily ever after, except for the fact that Bill waited too long to propose. And another guy comes to the ranch, another Stanford student, who also passes the same testicle test. He proposes and winds up marrying Sandra Day. His name, of course, was O'Connor. And so that couple goes off into the sunset. But what about Bill? Poor Bill, the man who's not inclined to judge? Well, that was Bill Rehnquist. He and Sandra Day sit on the Supreme Court for decades together.
Yeah.
And the families become dear friends, brought together by the father of a pretty young girl who wanted to see what the men in her life were made of and decided to do that with a litmus test that involved the recently severed testicles of a bull. Now,
and a pair of scissors the dad called the emasculators. Grand Canyon University, a private Christian university in beautiful Phoenix, Arizona, believes in equal opportunity and that the American dream starts with purpose. Change the world for good by putting others before yourself. Whether your pursuit involves a bachelor's, master's, or doctoral degree, GCU's online, on-campus, and hybrid learning environments are designed to help you achieve your unique academic, personal, and professional goals. With over 330 academic programs as of September, GCU meets you where you are and provides a path to help you fulfill your dreams. The pursuit to serve others is yours. Let it flourish. Find your purpose at Grand Canyon University. Private, Christian, affordable. Visit gcu.edu. Thanks so much for watching. If you like what you just saw, hit the subscribe button for more clips and full episodes.